Where I am now, better than before. Through those open doors. And now, where I am now, I'm in a special place. I'm taking a walk where I am now. It's now time for the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FY Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. The music that you hear in the background is none other than Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, where I am now. And if you'd like to see us live in WGPL 1350 studio, all you have to do is go to Edward Everett's Facebook page or Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton's Facebook page. And guess what? You can see us live right here in WGPL 1350 studio. And if you'd like to hear us all over the globe, all you have to do is go to www.christianbroadcastingcompany.com, or you can go to 1400 AM or 1350 AM, and guess what? You can hear us all over the world. And now I want to introduce to some and present to others the host of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, and a pleasant good morning to you.
Good morning. Mr. E, it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Could you, will you be my neighbor?
Let's welcome our neighbors, our WGPL 1350 AM listeners.
Peace, 95.3 FM and WPCE 1400. Good morning to you.
Facebook Live is on and popping. Let's also welcome LinkedIn, YouTube, and Twitter. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. We'll shout you out later on in the show.
Like, share, subscribe, and comment.
Like, share, subscribe, and comment. We'll shout you out later on in the show. Shout it out.
Yeah.
Mr. E, what day is it today?
Today is hump day. That's what today is.
What a hump day. That is a fabulous hump day.
That's what
you all should be up and popping.
That's right.
It's the middle of the week.
In the middle of the, I forgot.
Yeah, you forgot that one,
week.
But I tell you what, that was a fabulous hump day. We're glad to be here. This is our Wednesday segment. What's in, it's not in, what's under the hat?
Issues concerning men.
Yes, and we have a fabulous guest today, Mr. E. We have Pastor Abel Sutton. He hails all the way from Elizabeth City.
Yeah.
His ministry is... What's the name of his fabulous ministry?
He's got one of the greatest ministries in Elizabeth City. And his ministry is, he's the pastor in Elizabeth City where he resides. And he's also the pastor of the, I just saw it, Miss Hinton. I saw it.
It is a Faithway Church of Jesus.
That's right.
And that's what it is. Mr. E is forgetting about his wonderful guest, but I tell you what, he's here with us. How are you doing, Pastor Abel Sutton?
Good morning. I'm doing well, and I tell you what, if I did not have a cup of coffee, I just got a cup with the great excitement and energy that both of you are sharing this morning. Good morning.
Did that hump day wake you up?
But I tell you what, I love it.
Wow, we are so glad for you to be here with us. You know, we had your father on the other day, Bishop Ernest Sutton, and it was fabulous. We're glad that you're here. Pastor Abel, tell us a little bit about yourself. I just told folk you from Elizabeth City, North Carolina, but tell us more.
Well, first of all, I am a citizen of the kingdom of God. That's the most important thing. Filled with the Spirit of God, and I am a father. I am a husband. My wife and I've been married for 15 years.
Wow.
I'm a husband, Nell Sutton. I'm a father of 5 children, 2 boys and 3 girls. Son of, as you said, Bishop Ernest Sutton, Valeria Sutton. I'm a pastor. I'm also bivocational. I also work in healthcare, real estate agent, and a lot of different things. From a market share standpoint, but more than anything, I'm just a lover of Jesus and a son of the faith, and excited to share the gospel with all that were here.
I tell you what, that is fabulous. A young man, and it seems like you have done it all, but I'm sure it's more to do because as we talk with your father, he shared that the ministry is yours to oversee and to shepherd. And I mean, how exciting is that?
Absolutely. It's definitely, I have not done it all. I'm just starting, I'm telling you that. But I tell you what, you're right. It's definitely a heavy weight to be able to take the torch into the next season of what God is doing in the earth. And I'm excited to be standing on the shoulders of my father and many others who have raised me up in the church and as a man. And I'm excited just to be obedient to the voice of God to serve this present age. It's exciting. It's also the gravity of the call as well. So definitely want to be led by the Spirit.
You know, I was interested to know if you went screaming and kicking. Were you a willing worker? Or were you ready for the ministry? You know, most pastors say that they, when they get the call, that it's, something that they kind of hesitate. Tell us about when you first got the calling and when you got the responsibility to shepherd the church.
Well, I'll tell you about, I kind of started a little earlier than that. As a child, I just took a liking to the things of God. Receiving, accepting, then denying, and running, and all those good things. And I never wanted to be a pastor. I was filled with the Spirit at a young age. I love God, but I never wanted to be a pastor. And sometimes I still question that call. I don't question the call, but I question my response sometimes to that. And it's one of those things that I question to ask God, if you really want me to do this? Is there anybody else that can do this? I'll be supporting things and everything. That's a journey, I think. A lot of pastors, I know myself, go through that. Jesus went through that, even when he was going to the cross, where he knew it was his call, but he still pleaded, if there's any other way to accomplish this, take this cup away from me. And I think we all go through that a little bit, but nonetheless, once you say yes, it will minimize some of the frustration.
Yes.
Knowing that if God calls you, he will definitely equip you to be able to do what he's assigned for you.
I like the word you use, equip. So you were ready for the Great Commission and, going forward to reach the lost. We talked about that with your father, Bishop Sutton. And today we wanted to talk about love. Now abideth faith, hope, and love. And we want to know if the love is still there in the church. We went through this pandemic, 3 years. We were outside of the walls, some people in the home, and people were trying to communicate through the message of hope in any way possible. Talking about being outside of the walls, definitely, the church had to be outside of the walls. Tell us about what you think about the message of love. We can do a lot of things, though I give my body to be burned, though I, do this and that. The Bible says it don't mean nothing if you don't have love. Can you address that and address what love feels like in the church now?
Absolutely. I think that definitely, we're definitely in a time where we have to make sure we define or redefine in our own mind what that love really looks like. And it all traces down to the motive. What is the love, or we can have works that look like love, but is it really wholeheartedness? When we look at that word definition of love, of course we have brotherly love, we have romantic love, and of course the highest form of love is agape love that we're all striving to exercise. But in the Hebrew context, the love is really just one word. And if we had time to break it down, it really comes down to wholeheartedness in the sense of where is the heart? Is the heart. And when Jesus talks about love, he talks about one, loving him with all of us, our whole heart, mind, body, and soul, and then loving our neighbor as ourselves. And we also live in a time where love has waxed cold, that we've become egocentric and self-centered. The fight of the fittest, as they say, but love is really the laying down the sacrificial of one's own life for the life of another. No greater love than this than a man that will lay his life down. And we just got to get back to that point where we become sacrificial again. That all that we have and all that we are is not about us, not about what we can get, but what we can offer. And that's really what is the sacrifice. And we've lost that love, but I'm confident, optimistic that as we raise up kingdom citizens that will take back their dominion, their authority in the earth, that we can display that love. We can get some kingdom ambassadors that can display that love, and we can go on an evangelistic journey again to bring souls back to Christ who walk in that love.
Yes. Pastor Sutton, talking about we always talk about going beyond the walls. During this pandemic, you had to go beyond the walls. What do you think about technology in the church now and being able to reach the world?
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a blessing. And I think sometimes when God is trying to introduce us to some things, many times we demonize what we can't define. There was a time in some circles, in my circle, where we didn't have a TV, and we were actually told from a religious standpoint that it was an evil thing. And all things are lawful, all things are not expedient. But God was trying to introduce us to other mediums to be able to spread the gospel. It is not the mechanism, but it's whose hand the mechanism is in. And I think the Lord definitely through ages, as we can see the involvement of when Jesus preached, he went out on the river and he used the water in the boat as a microphone, right? We wouldn't do that today, obviously. But the message doesn't change, but the method does. The pandemic, it thrust most of us who are concerned about reaching this generation and still being relevant and having the ear to those that God has called us to. It forced us to strengthen our means of technology, but it's not a bad thing. It's a beautiful thing as we embrace it. God will help us. Like right now, we're communicating this part. God allows us to communicate, to spread the gospel to the uttermost parts of the earth. And when Jesus, let me just say this: when Jesus made a statement, he said, when he died, he told his disciples, he said, "Greater works would you do because I go to my Father." Now, Jesus did some amazing things.
Yes.
Raised the dead. He rose from the grave. Blinded eyes were healed. Souls were saved. Is there really anything greater that we can do that Jesus did? I will make a proposition that the answer to that is probably no. But what Jesus was saying is that there will be an expansion of what he did. And in his limited time frame and the technology that he had was limited for that season. He had accomplished his mission. But now we get to model Christ on a greater level because of the tools that we have. And that goes back to, and I don't want to talk too much, but that goes back to our kingdom mandate. When our kingdom authority in Genesis was to replenish the earth and subdue it and have dominion. And of course, we lost that through sin. But when Jesus came to restore that. The last Adam restored that and gave us our dominion back. And we can go in many different areas with that. But one of the assignment back. And when we really operate in kingdom, we begin to dominate in the assignment that the Lord has called us to spread the gospel in many different capacities. It's not just preaching, it's not just in the four walls of the building of the church, but it is the church, the assembly of God, using these mechanisms that God has afforded us to do those greater works.
Yes.
And that's that kingdom authority, and that's the kingdom assignment.
I like that, Bishop. I like that what you're saying, and that's wonderful because he gave us the Great Commission. He told us to go to the hedges and highways to compel men to come to know him, but by any means necessary. By any means necessary. So technology is playing one of the greatest roles that in the world today, because folks can go to the hedges, go to highway, and they can get on technology and tell of the goodness of Jesus, because you can't walk down them North Carolina roads like you used to, so now you got technologies that's helping you out. Am I right about it?
Absolutely. It's a pulpit and a platform much bigger than the people that actually walk through the doors of the church. And we get a chance to minister, and I use minister loosely, but we get a chance to disciple, impact, connect in a way. Sometimes we don't even know who it is that we're reaching.
That's right. Yes.
But as long as we are communicating effectively the gospel of Jesus Christ, and we're using all the tools and resources that He's afforded us to do in this hour, we are accomplishing the Great Commission.
Yes. Now, as church comes back, because they had shut church down for a few years, is the church open now to include everybody? Because we've seen our segregated churches. All black over here, all white over here. Some people not welcome in the church, and some people, if you're not, in the right vein of folk, and not looking like folk, and not sounding like you can't join the club. Now that we have the opportunity to do it again and bring folk back into the church, do you feel like it's going to be more flexible and doing like Jesus said, whomsoever will, let them come?
Well, I think God has definitely graced us with a coat of many colors. And what that means is that we won't all be the same. We won't all look the same. We won't all have the same culture and style. We will have the same gospel. We're supposed to have the same gospel and the same purpose. But sometimes that is reflected in various different colors. And that's okay as long as we're not putting walls of separation on us. And what we found out is that many of us have preferences that we have coined to be the gospel, or coined to be religious or righteous, but they're simply that there are preferences, and what we have to do. I think the pandemic caused us to really take a look at what we prefer, yes, and really measure it on the backdrop of what really is the purpose and the point of this Great Commission. And a lot of times what we need to do is we need to be honest with our preferences, but do not make our preferences universal. Because what is true and what is truth is not always the same. It could be true for a season, but the truth never changes from generation or geography. So I do think the pandemic forced us to reevaluate some things and really prioritize what is important and what's not. There were some things that was important to us that was not necessarily important to the universal message of the gospel of Jesus. So we got to be inclusive of everybody. The message never changes. The message never changes. It's always Jesus and Him crucified, and God compelling us to come into His house, which is not physical, His kingdom, which is not physical, but it's a spiritual nature. But you're exactly right. We have to be prepared to receive those who may not operate in our preferences.
Yes.
And be willing to forfeit some preferences so that we can receive the harvest that God is bringing in this latter day.
You know, Bishop, as I begin to hear you talk and you with and letting us know that things has changed in some essence and change has not. Things have not changed in essence. Here's the question: Has love for others, has that changed? Has we gotten to the point now that because you are a certain breed, a certain color, or that I don't love you because you're not a part of the clique, you're not loved? And when Jesus told us to love everyone, has love in the church has it changed and waxed cold?
I think we are still in the fulfillment of the scripture. Church at large, I'm not sure if we've seen a change. I was hoping that during the pandemic we'll see a flood of believers in of itself, flood the altars and return back to God, and we'll see a mass a retreat to the things of God, back to the things of God. I'm not confident that we have seen that. And I think it's an individual journey, though. I think, like I said, I can't paint everybody with a broad brush, but I think it's an individual journey. And as we, as individuals, measure our love and really evaluate, the Bible says, examine yourself whether you be in the faith. That really comes down to examining our love measure. Do we really love everybody? Are we showing that love? Yeah. And we can't examine that based upon the love we receive, because everybody's journey is individual. We got to examine that with the love that we give. And are we on a daily basis, not just through words, because with the lips we can speak of things, our heart can be so displaced, you know.
Yes.
But are we really operating in love where one, we're telling the truth and we're living the truth, and we're with the hands and feet of God in the earth, and we're dominating the space as ambassadors for God in the earth. That's really what love is. Love is we're called to dominate, to rule, to operate in a certain realm, to fulfill a need, to be the solution. And that's what love is. Love fills the gap. Is that when I see, not just from a social standpoint, because it's social services and kingdom are two different things, but there is a social service component mixed with evangelism and preaching the truth of the gospel. But are we really meeting the needs, the holistic needs of those that God has called us to in the othermost parts of the earth? Are we really operating in that love, not just with words, but in our agenda, in our schedule, in our finances, in how we move and operate? Do we just have that mind where we're looking for loveless situations where we can fill that void with the love of God?
Absolutely. Now, I'm going to tell you one of the concerns that I have, and that is the church and our youth. Did the young people come back after the pandemic? What about the youth showing love, reaching out, developing and training, and having a place for them? You know, and I'm saying this for some of the places that I've gone, and I see where the youth are not really there. Are they hesitating to come back? Are we giving them the things that they need? How do you reach out to the youth?
Well, if we look at some studies that have been done, books and things that I've read, most young people actually fall away from the church around that 16, 18-year age when even if they're there physically, they start to wane away. And we've seen this for years. Now, during the pandemic, you got to remember, we lost 2 years face-to-face time, you know, with this population. And sometimes by the time we came back, they were already gone. Mm-hmm. And I think it goes down to one of the things that we talked about earlier. It's about preferences, and it's about evolving in our methods. And I think if we really take a look at these preferences, can I tell you something? Young people want Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want Jesus. They want the principles and the promises. They even want the structure of Jesus. Many times, the systems that we put in place makes it a barrier for them many times to hear and see Jesus. So it boils down to one,
Yes.
Give them an opportunity to serve, and they are the church of the day, and not making young people an afterthought or a compartment, but making them the forerunners of the gospel.
Absolutely. Now,
and they want that mantle. They want it.
Absolutely. Now, I heard that some of the older folks are still in the bed shaking. You know, they some of them are afraid to come. If they don't come back, some of them are afraid to come in the sanctuary. And this is what I've seen with my own eye. Some of them are afraid to come back in the sanctuary. Can you address and kind of like encourage, you know, the older people to, hey, you can come back.
Yeah, you definitely can come back. We want you. We need you. The Bible says he calls the old because they're wise, the young because they're strong. The merging of the generations is important for the growth of the church, and not just the growth of the church numerically, but the influence of the church in the world and the development of character in the church, young, middle aged, and old as well. We need you. God has not given us a spirit of fear. You can come out. God has not given us a spirit of fear. Many times we're going, and sometimes it is the influence of the enemy who doesn't want to see the church flourish and grow and but to grow in that way, because we go many other places and we're fine, but we're making a excuse for church, and many of us have been guilty of that. And we make time for everything else. But we need you. We want you to come back. You're going to be fine. Wear your mask if you feel like you have to wear your mask. But come on back. We need you. There's a place for you here. You do not have to operate in fear. Many times the thing that you fear actually is the thing that comes upon you. I'll tell you something funny. When we stopped church, we had several people who didn't come when we came back, or before we decided we were going to stop for a moment in the in-person meeting, and they actually got COVID before the rest of us.
Wow! Oh my goodness!
So, and I saw that on many occasions. So we don't need to operate in fear. We need to operate with our kingdom authority, operating in power and in love, and just trust God. Yes, we operate in wisdom. We understand we were here for a season, but God has blessed us through this pandemic. In the pandemic, through the pandemic, and we're still battling with some things, but the kingdom of God is an unshakable kingdom.
Yes.
And this isn't the first pandemic. It won't be the last that we've seen. We've seen Matthew 24 repeated several times in our history.
Absolutely.
And every time God brought us out.
Bishop, we have a few more minutes before we have to say bye-bye to you. I was thinking about, my concern is, where the brotherhood? We got so many men walking around here, like they're out there in left field. What does it take for the church to do to bring the men back around?
Well, I'm going to flip that around because that's actually been a heart of mine, and God showed me a retreat of men back to the church. I don't know if we need the focus should be how to get men back to the church, but how do we get the church back to men?
Yeah.
I think our society, we have feminized the church at large. If you look at most African American churches in particular, there are more women there than men. So what happens is we start adapting our culture to fit those who are coming, right? So the colors of the church, the songs of the church, the wording of the church, everything is directed towards women. It's feminized. We talk about romantic language. Jesus is our lover of our soul, and we hold hands. We do a lot of things that men typically don't cater to or don't cleave to. So we kind of push them out. What we need to do is we need to give men their place back in the earth and in God, and that's the place of leadership. And that has nothing to do. Our women have done a wonderful job, and the women are always going to do what they're supposed to do.
Absolutely. Yes, we are.
But we need to really focus on providing a culture that teach men about their warrior place, their kingdom right, and their position of dominance. And that's not dominance over anybody. That's dominance over their skill set. That's dominance over their purpose and calling in life. And that's really where we've lost men. Many times we're medicating things that we ask men to do in the church, cook, clean, take care of children, men are not interested in that. They want leadership positions. They want things that can work their gifts. And we got to get back to really focusing on how do we build a culture where men feel like that they're needed.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Pastor Abel Sutton. We're going to give your information, but we got to go. Thank you so much for taking your time. Stay blessed and continue to go forward in love.
God bless. Love you all. Thank you for the opportunity to share this morning.
Thank you. God bless you. You all come over here for a little while. And guess what? We'll see you back here on Fun Friday.
For the past 30 minutes, you've been listening to the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. And for more information, you can give a call at 757-714-7861. Don't forget to tune in Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for more of FYI Radio Show from 9:30 right here on WGPL 1350.
All right now. Wow. Pastor Abel Sutton, a young man in ministry. His dad said on the other day, what day was it, Mr. E, that he was passing the mantle to his son to go forth in the ministry. He is the pastor of Faithway Church of Jesus. And they're located in Elizabeth City, North Carolina.
That's right.
He is energetic, on fire, and ready for the task. I asked the question of Mr. E. I think Mr. E said the same thing. I always ask pastors, did you go screaming and kicking after you got the call? And why? Why is it?
You got to remember, pastor has seen a lot of stuff in the church. Their fathers could have been pastor and what they had to endure. Some of them look for the pastor to pull all of this and they lacking at home and they making sure that everybody else is well taken care of. So when it's time for you to go and do what God has instructed you to do or to take the mantle, one of the things you find, say, I just don't want to be like that because I seen my house, my family go lacking, and my daddy didn't have the coins in his pocket like he had like he's supposed to. And we had to, as children, has to walk up without no flaws.
Oh, wow. So I tell you what, it is a great calling, but it also is a sacrifice. And so, you have to give your time to many, and you have to, just go forth. And as God instructs and anoints you to do, you're not your own, basically. You really have to be led by the Spirit. You have to go by the word, and you have to have a lot of grace, love, and mercy when it comes to leading folk, honey. That's not the easiest thing in the world. We see with Moses, honey, he was about to lose his mind over the saints. And so, we really, I can understand when you talk about answering that call, you're talking about a great task. I want to say good morning to Sean Connors and Mark Howard. He said, Mr. E, awesome session. Mr. E, well, all right, Mr. E. Season. I can't say session.
Yeah.
Season.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Are you? I'm about to jump.
Mark.
Mark, are you talking about?
See, one thing Mark
is talking about the games. Oh boy. Then Mark, you got to join us on Monday when we can really talk.
One thing about Mark Howard, he never calls in on Sports Talk, and he never talks about the team that he highly recommends. What he does is run and hide. He's a wannabe, but he really wants to be a Dallas Cowboys. And the news
Mark, can you please respond
area.
to that? All you all that really are in the closet for the Cowboys, let us know. But let's get back to our topic and thanking our special guest, Pastor Abel Sutton. Now abide of faith, hope, and love, honey. You can do all you want to. You can have the biggest churches in the whole wide world.
But
you can sit up there and look good and act good and give your body to be burnt. And also give all to the poor and whatnot, and don't have a bit of love. You ain't doing nothing.
You ain't nothing but sounding brass and tingling cymbals.
The Bible said you're empty. And that's so right. We want to have real love because real love is going to draw people. And, thank God that he understands the commission and the the word of God that says to do these things in love. Let love be before anything, and let love be the initial thing that you dangle. You know, that shiny object that
That's
you're
right.
dangling in front of people and saying, "Look, it ain't." You know, regardless of anything, you know, love conquers all. You know, we talked about the fact that, you know, when you look at the world, and we say the world, you know, as opposed to the church, they are speaking in terms of inclusion, and they are making laws including everybody. You cannot sit here and discriminate against anybody according to the law. You're going to get in trouble. And so I asked the question, Miss E, to him about making sure, now that we're back, we've got to understand you can't keep people out of the church anymore. You can't say, well, you dirty and nasty, you on the pole and whatnot, you can't come to church. Or you know, you LGBT and all that, you can't come in. You can't do that, because that is not what is the drawing factor. The word, you know, the love of God has to include. And, you know, is the world, are they doing better than we are as a church? What do you think?
Well, you know, Miss Hinton, I don't think that folks have put the people in a box. I think that what folks are really, what has gone away from, because some are in the glit and the glamour. Some are not doing what God has instructed them to do.
In the
to
church?
show
Are you
love.
saying the church?
Right, in the church. Some of them are not doing it because some just want the numbers,
Oh.
you know. But you know that when you come unto Him, He, you know, He is the author and the finisher of our faith. You got to show that agape love, that love that conquers a multitude of sin. See, regardless of what a person may be like, regardless of what a person may have done out there in the world, we got to continue to forgive them, because God had to forgive us. You know, God is the kind of God that is a loving kindness as I draw nigh unto thee. That all I want to show you that I love you in spite of your imperfection, in spite of your hard-headedness, in spite of the choices that you have made. And even though you have made some choices, I understand, because I'm God, because I know that you was born in sin, and I know that you had to be transformed and changed. What a lot of folks are not doing, is winning folk with love, because you got some imperfection. We know that they the right one. Them the one that God he chose. We got more hellish folks that think that they got it, but really they're not showing the love of God to all men and to all women.
Well, the thing about it is the word of God to the world, to the church. That's the love that we're talking about. And you know, the church, they do many things. We do many things to reach the community. Of course, the poor is fed. The
That's
needy
right.
gets their their needs met. You know, there are plenty of programs and things like that. But loveth thou these more than. You've got to feed the sheep. You've got to feed
the sheep.
Come with the word of hope.
That's right.
So man can survive and live and grow and become one new man. And that's what we're talking about. And so we're really thankful for our guests and the ministry. And, you know, we encourage you all to be a part of a ministry. You know, find one that fits you. Come from under the bed shaking, because guess what he said? He said the older people have wisdom and they have knowledge. And, you know, you can tell people how you can survive and not walk in fear. But many of them are afraid. And now listen, they're not afraid for no reason. A lot of them have resistance, are low, and they don't want to die. They don't want to be in. So that's one of the fears. That's one of the things that make them fear. But you know, they have gotten there. Hopefully they've gotten the shots, and some haven't. And so hopefully they will take precautions. You know, you can still social distance. You can still, you know, they have some churches that have, you can come to the church, but you don't have to come in the
parking lot.
You can go in the parking lot, or you can go into, you know, the vestibule or whatever that area that is. Wherein, you know, hey, you may not come in contact with a lot of people, but you know, make sure you're getting that word. Make sure you some kind of way reaching out, because you know it's still our responsibility to reach souls.
You know, Miss Hinton, as we begin to dialogue about the church and people coming to the church, I feel this. If you got to go to the grocery store, and when you look at the television, the television blowing things out of proportion, and they telling you this, and this, but they still are not stopping from going to the grocery store. They got to go to the grocery
you say
store.
they still going out,
They
huh? But
still-
just not in church.
They
They
just
scared
not
of
in church, but they still going out. They going to
That's
the
a good
beauty
point.
salons. They going to the grocery stores. They going to everything is as usual, as usual. But guess what? They are not doing. They are not coming to the house of God. Why are they making the house of God to the point where I can't go there because of the pandemic? Well, you go to Food Line. You go to Harry Teeter's. You go to a lot of places. But why is it that you don't want to come into the household of faith? You know, the door is open. They're not charging you to come in, and you can come into the household of faith, and you can go out, and you ain't got to put a dime if you don't want to be a giver. All you have to do is receive the word of God. But when you go to different places like Food Line and all these grocery stores, you depositing something in them, and all you getting is your grocery coming out there, and then you go back home and you go to the beauty salon. And did you not know that you can catch the viruses right there as you pass folk? You can go to the hospital, go to your doctor's office. You know, because a lot of people has not stopped going to the doctor's office. You can go to the doctor, but one place that they do not want to go, children are still going to the schoolhouse, but one place they do not want to go is to the house of the Lord. Why is that so like that? Why is, you ain't got to sit around, folk. You can have your distance. You can put your mask on. The church is a place that helps you to be able to deal with society and deal with the things of this world. You know, and teach you how to love one another. But you so busy going to the market and getting the gospel, but leaving God on the side of the road.
Oh, well, that is a good point. Now, you all can't be under the bed shaking during the service. And then we see y'all out there discoping.
Playing the numbers, going
in the biggest crowd, y'all said something in the water and all that stuff.
I'm going to play the big,
going to the casino.
What's they call it? The big, the 7-Elevens and play the.
Y'all going to the casinos and everything.
You're going everywhere else but the household of faith.
Oh, but that is something else to behold. We're going to talk more about that. That was a good point. But anyway, we'll get ready to go. Make sure you all continue to follow us on social media. Young Women Achieving Success. We have our meeting tonight. If you want to come, call 757-287-6792. But you got to bring your youth 10 to 17 years old. Also, don't forget the ladies' book, the buys, the ladies' music. And don't forget, if you want to be a special guest sponsor intern with FYI, Miss E's going to give you that information.
You know, Miss Hinton, and again, I just want to let our listening audience know that you can go to the household of faith. There's nothing wrong with you going to church. And if you'd like to be a special guest or sponsor, all you have to do is give us a call at 757-714-7861, or you can go to Edward Everett's Facebook page and inbox us, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton Facebook page, and inbox us, FYI Facebook page, inboxes, or you can go to FYI Radio Show live at gmail.com and put all your information there, and we'll soon get back with you.
God bless you all. We're going to see you back here on Friday. Have a wonderful day, and do something good for yourself and someone else.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. I'm Ed Everett, and our host is none other than Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. Don't forget to join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 right here on WGPL 1350, WPCE 1400, 95.3 FM, and soon to be 88.9 WMVA. And have a wonderful, wonderful day.